Hello, welcome to the final capstone project, and today I will show you the second testing of the client with all the tests run through at once. We'll begin here with the baseline blood pressure. Having the client sit down in a relaxed position while strapping the blood pressure cuff on them. And proceeding to take their blood pressure. After I get the results, I write them down in the notebook to record and put down in the paper later. Next, we move to the waist and hip girth measurement by using the Gulick tape measure, measuring around the waist to get our results. And again, writing down our records. Next, we have the skin fold assessment, where I have my client turn around backwards by pinching the back of her arm and holding it there and using the apparatus to pinch down and record my results. Next, we move into flexibility assessment, where we use the goniometer. First, we begin with shoulder flexion. Where she is standing this time, as opposed to being in a supine position. And starting the goniometer at the acromion process. Recording the results. Next, we move into shoulder extension. Again, goniometer up near the acromion process, having the client move her arm back, and recording the results again. After this, I have my client lay on the table. This is to measure her hip flexions, hip extensions. We're going to start with the hip flexion, having the goniometer at the lateral aspect of the hip joint, and having your flex your leg up and recording the results. Next, I'll have her turn over into a prone position. And again, with the goniometer at the lateral aspect of the hip joint, I have her extend her hip and record the results. I have my client once again stand, this time to measure the elbow, where the goniometer is placed on the lateral epicondyle of the humerus, with the client flexing up and back down. and recording the results. Next, we get back on the table. This way to measure the knee. And here we have the goniometer on the lateral epicondyle, having her bring her leg up, measuring the result, and recording. Now I move the camera down so we can get the plantar and dorsiflexion of the ankle, starting with plantar, where the goniometer is on the lateral aspect of the lateral malleolus. As the client presses down with her foot, we record. Next we go to dorsiflexion. Once again, record the results. Once this is done, we create some space so the client or volunteer can perform the sit and reach test. As you can see, there's the blue tape on the yardstick, measuring at 15 where the client's feet would be placed. By sitting down, she begins to stretch out to warm up her muscles as to not hurt herself during the test. This is an important part of the test due to cold muscles being more prone to injury if you just reach out immediately without any warm-up or practice beforehand. Once she's ready, she lets me know, and we get back into the start position. The client sitting down, and the tape at 15 marked on the yardstick, right where her heels are. And she does one test, reaching as far as she possibly can, measuring at approximately 21 and a half. Following the sit and reach test, we move into the muscular endurance, where my client will perform the push-up and curl-up test. This here is the client demonstrating the proper position with the modified push-up, with women being on their knees and their hands flat on the ground with their elbows straight and their hands directly underneath their shoulders. And the chin must go down to the ground for one correct rep. As you can see, she brings her body fully to the ground before pressing up again, making sure each repetition will count. If you do perform this type of test, as I did not recommend it or bring one, sometimes the client may need a pad for their knees if they're on a hard surface so they don't hurt themselves. Next we move right into the curl-up test, where the client is flat on their back with their arms, shoulders, and elbows flat on the ground. their knees bent in a 90-degree position. And we place a piece of tape on the ground measuring 12 inches, which the client must reach to each repetition to fully count. If you are over a certain age, approximately 40 to 45, you may reduce this down to 8 centimeters. The client does a very good job of performing the most repetitions possible while keeping in line with the metronome that will count the beat needed for her to keep steady pace. As you can see, the client begins to get fatigued and starts to slow their pace down just a little, but still keeping in line with the metronome, showing muscle exhaustion. Once the client is done, we record the results and move on to the next test. For this test, we enter to a new room so the client can perform the 3-minute step test. To begin, I measure out the step, which is just a bit short. It is in 10 inches instead of 12. As the client prepares putting shoes on so that she does not hurt her feet during this test, we get everything set up, ready for it to begin. Once the client is ready, we get the metronome again to perform the beats needed to keep pace during the test. To begin, she gets a few warm-up steps before we start the actual test. With the metronome going, the client begins. At the end of the test, I once again take the blood pressure of the client to see how it has improved and increased throughout the process. By getting the blood pressure cuff on and getting right in the crest of the elbow, we once again take the blood pressure of the client and record the result at the end of all the tests.